Hey, it's me. So, manga and anime. I've mentioned these things many times, but have I ever mentioned the weird ones I've seen? Not like that, get your mind out of the gutter. There are some interesting animes and mangas out there. I'm not talking, the really creepy ones that purposely try and weird you out, or like the creepy things that I'm not going to talk about. I'm talking about just ones that were meant to be taken seriously, but you're kind of just sitting there like, wait, what? When I first got into anime, I was very cautious, for good reason. I didn't want to stumble across anything weird, anything gross, anything not for my age. So I specifically looked up ones that were clean, and I looked up ratings of manga that were, did not have anything I didn't want in there. And as such, I came across some very odd ones because my choices became very limited. So I will start with something very basic, very simple, but very odd. It was an anime called Detective Academy Q. Probably haven't heard of it, very few people have. The anime itself got canceled, which is pretty rare. The manga itself even got canceled, which is even rarer. It did not finish. So you could tell it was not pulling in the money that they needed, apparently. So this anime, nothing really too weird about it, except for the fact that the main characters were all basically stereotypes. You had the smart kid stereotype, you had the emo kid stereotype, you had the girl stereotype, you had the smart kid stereotype, or the tough guy stereotype. It was like an American TV show, basically. Very stereotyped, very interesting. It had some interesting ideas and stuff, but the one thing that I found very weird was the fact that it could not decide if it was supposed to be for adults or children. Because the way the kids acted, their ages, the style, it was very childish. And I didn't really care at the time. I was pretty young. Well, young to me anyway. I was middle school maybe. But the thing was that it would also have these elements of not for children. It could get very dark. So it was a mystery series. It was kind of like Detective Conan, but not. Like, there was scenes of people being cut in half, there was scenes of people hanging, like they had committed suicide, and just very dark themes. Come to find out later on, like, oh, the person wasn't really cut in half, he was just laying in the ground a weird way to make it look like he was dead, and stuff like that. But as a middle schooler who was very sheltered, upon seeing that, I was horrified. And then not to mention the fact that there was, I don't know if they were trying to do a romance or not. So there was this little boy. These kids are like middle school. There's this little boy, and then there was like this teenage boy who was the angsty emo one, and then there was a girl. I thought this boy and the girl were supposed to be kind of a thing, but the way that the teenage boy and the middle school boy interacted was a little bit weird. Just kind of like, they would have some shots of them like staring into each other's eyes in the sunset, like, yeah, we're gonna solve this mystery. And I just kind of sat there, I was like, they're kind of getting a little close here. I mean, nothing ever happened, but it was just kind of weird. And speaking of weird shots, I just remember this one scene where the dark emo guy, like, his thing was that he liked dark mysteries and stuff like that. And there was this part where the girl is like, oh, I don't know how much more of this I can take, or something like that. And I just remember the scene where he was like, yes, but I can't help but think, mystery, get deeper. That's literally what he says, and it gets like Sailor Moon status where the background goes fully blue with stars and his hair blows in the wind and he sounds like this. I'm like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be the dark, serious one. What just happened there? And it was supposed to be dead serious too. So that was just one of the more mild ones that I discovered. But now we're going to get to a little bit more of an odd area. There was this anime I watched. It was called something about the moon. Not Sailor Moon. It was Finding Full Moon, Gekkan wa Full Moon, something like that. And it was about this little girl who was dying and she wanted to be a singer, so these reapers decided to help her out. And they're like, okay, well, we'll make you a singer, but in return you have to come with us willingly when you die, basically, was the thing. And it was very cute, very childish, very sweet. And so I decided, oh, I want to read the manga. I did not know the rule of if you watch an anime, the manga is always worse. So if you don't know, that's a loud roll of thunder. Sorry, we have a thunderstorm going on right now. 1 second. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, Shinigami. That's the Japanese word for reapers. So if you don't know the legend of Shinigami, basically the legend is that if a person commits suicide, that is their punishment, is to become a reaper, never being able to rest. You constantly have to work, taking souls from dying people, stuff like that. So they kind of touched on that in the anime, but in the manga, they straight up show these people committing suicide. Our main characters that we grow to love, you see them slitting their wrists and hanging themselves, and it was horrifying. But yet it still kept the childish look, like the childish style of these characters. And like the drawing style is very cutesy looking, and then all of a sudden just blood. And it was very strange. I mean, I would still recommend the anime. The anime was very cute, very lovable. It'll make you cry, I'm not gonna lie. But it was a very sweet anime. The manga was just twisted. And speaking of manga, let's go a little bit more on the lighthearted side here. There was this one, I think it was called Summer Cactus. Something to do with a cactus. You're probably wondering, what? So the story is that there is this teenage couple, well, they're not a couple yet, they hate each other, you know, the typical yandere, I forget what it's called. Anyway, typical, oh yes, I totally hate you even though we're childhood sweethearts kind of thing. And the guy touches a cactus and he passes out. And the girl freaks out. She's like, oh no, he's sick, blah blah blah. He wakes up and he's acting different. He's acting weird. He hands her the cactus that he just touched and he's like, oh yeah, you can have this, I'm gonna leave. Come to find out, someone's spirit was inside of the cactus. And by touching it, he had gotten that person's spirit inside of him, and now his spirit was in the cactus. So you just have this Japanese schoolgirl sitting there talking to a cactus like, oh no, are you okay? Like, it's a cactus! And she's falling in love with a cactus! It was very strange. Weirdly enough, it was actually kind of cute. The manga was kind of cute, but it's a cactus! For our final one, this was one that was a little bit strange, but I fell in love with it, and I wish it had gotten some form of anime adaptation because it was a really good story. Now, if I went back and read it now, it might not be so much that good as I thought it was, but either way, I loved it. It was called Immortal Reign. I blabbed about it to my friends a bunch when I read it, and I was like, oh, you gotta read it, even though it's like 200 chapters long or something like that. It was a long manga, but it was really well done. It was basically about this girl. I don't remember what she did. She hunted supernatural things or something like that, and she comes across this guy. He's an immortal. And come to find out, he's only immortal because he has to save the world from this friend he had back in like the 18th century, who it turns out he gets reincarnated every time when he dies, but he remembers everything, so he hates dying and just waking up as someone else having to start over constantly is driving him mad. So he wants to destroy the world so that he cannot be reborn. Very interesting idea, very interesting concept. But let's get to the weird part though. The weird part was when this guy is born again, he's born again as a child, not as a baby. So needless to say, the scene where the mother gives birth is very gruesome. Now, it didn't show anything, you just see the silhouette of this half-grown child just burst like an alien out of the mother's stomach. And weirdly enough, him and I share the same birthday. They make his birthday very well known. And I'm like, oh, I share the birthday with this demon spawn, basically. But other than that, it was a really, really good manga. It had a really good story between the immortal guy and the girl, and basically him not wanting to attach himself to anything because everything around him is dying. And it was a very sweet anime, and the way it ended, I don't remember exactly how it ended, but I think he died in the end. But it was a bittersweet ending. Very awesome. Except that weird kid. That was just weird. So that's really all for today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to hear more about the strange animes and mangas I've watched and read, leave a comment down below. And with that, I will see you guys next Tuesday.